Hi, welcome. Hi, everyone who's joining us. I'm Tiffany Santana. I'm the Interim Executive Director at Bethany House of Northern Virginia. Bethany House is an organization that empowers women and children by providing short-term housing and trauma-informed services to women and children who are escaping domestic violence. Uh, each Tuesday and on some Wednesdays, we have discussions with members of our community who are either uniquely tied to Bethany House and its mission or who are doing good things in the community. So our Tuesdays are Talk Tuesdays and our Wednesdays are Wisdom Wednesdays. And today I'm very excited because I get to talk to one of my favorite people, Craig Irving of American Airlines. American Airlines has been one of our corporate sponsors for several years now. They are great people that really love our mission and really support us. And any opportunity that we have to talk to the great people over at American Airlines, we take that opportunity. Craig has an amazing story of doing good in the community. He has a personal story about domestic violence and how it's affected him. And he also has a nonprofit that works in the community as well. So I am excited to talk to him. I'm going to try to bring him on now and we'll get our Wisdom Wednesday started. Hey, Craig.
Hey, Tiffany, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing great now that I'm on. I wasn't nervous about this conversation. As I told you, I was excited to talk with you, but I was so nervous about doing Instagram Live because I'm so technologically challenged. So you're the first ever getting on Instagram Live. So
This is excellent. Thank you for coming on. I got my Frankie's Kitchen t-shirt on.
I was eating well, and now I feel bad because I didn't wear my Frankie's Kitchen, but it's so black. So I just stay neutral.
That's all right. That's all right. I'm just so happy that you're here talking to me. We kind of joked but not joked about the fact that when we talk, we just get so enthralled in conversation that I know we're not going to be able to do just a 30-minute talk. We'll have to have a part two, I'm sure. But we will carry this conversation as long and as far as we can carry it. Because I think that what you have to say, our audience certainly needs to hear. And you just provide so much insight and wisdom about all kinds of things in life. And I want people to hear your voice, and I know that people will be blessed by what you have to share with us. So I want to start first by your connection to American Airlines, what you do there, why American Airlines likes to serve the community, and how Bethany House is in alignment with what American Airlines values.
Sure. I'm excited. As I said, as you said, I work for American Airlines, and American Airlines has been a corporate sponsor with Bethany House probably, I know, well over 3 years. Years because I got involved about 3 years ago. But been with American Airlines for 30 years, and I always tell everybody, you know what, probably the part that I love most about working for American Airlines is just not the ability to fly around the world or even my day-to-day job that I'm responsible for. But one of the things I absolutely love and I always brag about is that being good corporate citizens and getting involved in the community. So about 3 years ago, I was tapped and said, hey, we are involved with this great organization by the name of Bethany House. And we would want to know if you would be interested in being the champion. And here's what they do. And time I read you guys' mission and what you stood for, right away I raised my hand and I said, I'm in. I'm in, number one, because what you do for women. And I've never been shy about telling everybody, number one, I'm a mama's boy. I lost in 2017, but I was a mama's boy and still am a mama's boy. But I just love, my mom was a single parent. And I've always had an interest and a passion for doing things that involve giving back to not just single family, but single moms in particular. So when I saw your mission, I knew the subject of domestic violence, how it touched very personal to me, and I share that story with you, how it impacted my family. So all those things being brought together, it was a no-brainer for me. I didn't even have to think twice. I said, I'm all in. So thank you.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. One of the things that I have enjoyed, American Airlines has been a sponsor of our Garden of Light Gala, which is our signature fundraiser each year. And one of the things I love about American Airlines is they don't just write a check, which is fabulous. We like the checks. But you all bring a whole crew with you. They're called the Do Crew. And it just, the energy, the passion, the love that the staff brings to Bethany House is just, it always takes our event to the next level. So it's not just people who are there because, oh, I got to do this work thing. I love when you guys come because you really are involved and engaged and passionate about what we do. And you really do hype the crowd and get everybody excited about being there and just set the atmosphere. So I've always been impressed with the organization. Anytime I get a chance to fly now, I fly with American Airlines just because I have fallen in love with the people of American Airlines.
And we love.
So we're excited about that.
And I tell you, Tiffany, if I can just plug the Do Crew, I'm glad you mentioned that. The thing I like about the Do Crew and is that we have these lists of charities and nonprofits and organizations and causes that American Airlines support. And when we say Do Crew, is you go out and do something, and the Do Crew has the option to select what they want to participate in. And the thing that I love about this is that you get to choose things, as you say, not something that that's being forced upon you, but you get to choose things that's passionate, that connects with you. And I've been to the gala that you guys put on, which I think you do an excellent job with that. But the individuals that volunteer, it gives me an opportunity to sit and talk with them and hear their stories. And I'm always so amazed at how you can never look at a person and tell what they've been through or what they're going through. And then, because what you do connects with them, and it connects them with their story. So that's the one thing that I absolutely love about when you see these individuals out participating in the Do Crew. Whatever they're participating in resonates with them personally. So thanks for giving a plug to the Do Crew.
That's good. We appreciate them very much. Always a good time, always a lot of fun. And, they work hard. They don't just show up in uniform looking pretty. They really work hard for us, and we value their hands and their hearts when they come to the gala for sure. I want to talk to you also about why Bethany House is personal to you. I know that you have shared with us personally your story of how domestic violence has impacted your family. But I'd like for you to share with those who are listening now about why this is so important to you personally.
Sure, absolutely. And I think when we talked a little bit yesterday, I told you, I said, what? Although I share this story because I do think that silence empowers. When you're talking about domestic abuse, it gives abusers power because they count on you remaining silent. But I think I shared with you that I'd never shared this story. I never shared this story on a public platform, but I never hesitate to share it in my private life and when I'm talking to people one-on-one. But domestic abuse is something that is so personal to me because my family was impacted on a very personal level. I lost my niece in 2013 to domestic violence. And it's one of those things that when it happened, you never ever think, it's always somebody else's story. You never think it's going to be your story. Or you never think, because completely honest, and I try to be as honest as I possibly can when I tell this story. I'd seen domestic abuse, not with my mom, but in my family, in my immediate family. But it was never to the fact, you always say, oh, he just pushed her, or she just hit him. It was always in your eyesight something simple that would go away. It's not a big deal. But it's anytime someone's demeans, put their hands on you, any kind of abuse is always a big deal. I know that now. But back in 2013, I would lose my niece, my younger niece, to domestic violence. And I was coming home that weekend, actually for another relative's memorial service. And got home and in the house talking to my mom, probably about 1 o'clock in the morning. We up talking, eating. and got a call from my sister that something had happened to my niece. And so I immediately, of course, just stepped out of the house. And this comes on the heels of just losing my sister a couple of months earlier. And so I zip over there, and the kids are there, and everybody's upset and panicked. And so, and again, I've never shared this story publicly, so it's very emotional to me, and it kind of seems surreal that I'm here talking to you about this. But we go over to the house of my niece. My niece kids were at my sister's house, and the kids were saying that they think their mom was dead, that their dad. Aww. And so immediately, right away, I jumped in the car. Just completely out of my mind, go over there, long story short, to see my niece in the back of an ambulance. And she had it dead. She had been murdered. And that moment always stands with me because immediately I can remember, and when I'm talking to people, I always like to give the rawest form of the truth so they can understand how domestic violence look. When I get there, my nieces, I immediately try to run into the house. But in my peripheral vision, I can see someone laying in the ambulance, and I immediately do a U-turn. I run to the ambulance, and I see my niece. She's laying there. And I started asking, is she okay? Is she okay? And someone kind of gently whispered, asked me, who was I? I said, I'm her uncle. And they gently whisper, she's dead. And I think in that moment, the first thing, and I always explain to her, to describe it as, it was an out-of-body experience. It was like I was looking down on all this happening, could even see myself, could see my brother, could see my niece, and it wasn't my story. And immediately, I think I remembered that I saw my niece as this little girl when she was born, as a baby, my sister having her as a baby. I didn't see this adult, and that's how much I disassociated from what was going on. And so after then, my sister later would tell me years later, you never came back and confirmed that it was her because my sister didn't come. But I think in that moment, all of our lives would change forever. All of our life, we would have to. And I say this, because I've only been a black man, so I say this from an African-American black man perspective. Those are the type of things, when it comes to abuse, and I'm going to share this with you so I can see how we moved on. Certain things we were raised up, you just don't talk about. Matter of fact, if my mom was alive today, she would say, don't you get on that camera and talk about our personal business.
Right.
And Tiffany, those are the things that empowers people, empower an abuser, because they count on you not telling the story, count on you not talking about it. And I knew before that weekend, we buried my niece a week later, and I knew before I went home, I needed to bring my sisters together, my nieces together, my brother, all of us need to be in one room, and we need to talk about what happens. Because when something like abuse happens, the thing that's so shocking, what you find out is everybody come forward and say, oh, yeah, I knew this. Oh, yeah, she said this. Oh, she would probably kill her. Oh, yeah, he beat her. Oh, but in my mind, I'm thinking, if you know something, why don't you say something? But again, we have lived in this mode of it's not my business, but it really is everybody's business. Because if you don't take the position that whenever it happens, it is your business, or one day it will be your business. Because I got to tell you, I personally was probably one of those individuals that never thought it would happen to me. It's those, and I said 3 things that empowers domestic violence: silence, stigma, and stereotype. Please keep silence. There's a stigma on it. There's a stigma that it happens to, and whoever those people are, you use your imagination to figure out who you consider those. But it was always those people, or it's never us, or we are better than that. So those 3 S's, those things empower and embolden abusers. And my niece left behind 3 kids, which then meant that my sister, again, her kids were grown, had to become a mother all over again. In the midst of becoming a mother all over again, she had to figure out that balance of dealing with her daughter's death, the kids not having any parent, because the husband, the father was now in the justice system. He's in the system now. And so now she has to deal with that balance. And I got to tell you, it was a very rough period. And I think even to this day, we feel the effects of that one moment. That one moment, and when I look back, that one moment that probably could have been avoided had we only communicated, had we only talked about it. What I didn't have the foresight to see, and what many don't have the foresight to see, if there's ever been any kind of abuse in your family at any given time, that can be that can be a circle. It can happen again and again and again. So the way that you start to deal with it is you start to talk about it. As uncomfortable as it is, you have to talk about it, because there is oftentimes I think we get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Meaning we're kind of comfortable knowing that something is going on that I don't have to say anything about it. I don't have to use it. Oh, this is my good friend. I know she's getting beat, but that's not my business. So we get comfortable with the fact that we're uncomfortable with that something is going on that shouldn't be right. So that's the personal story. You know, I lost my niece to domestic violence. Something that I would have never expected would have been, all the things that you would have told me that could happen in my family, my niece being murdered wasn't one of them. And you never get back to where, even to this day, I don't think my family has recovered from it. You forever feel the residual effects. So I would say to anybody that's listening to this live, no one thinks it can be them. Everybody thinks that their family is a little better than that. No, we're a little better. Teachers, preachers, friends, doctors, lawyers, no one is immune. It's happening. It's happening. And when you see something, you have to figure out a way to say something. That's why it's so important, the service that Bethany House does. I really admire what you all do for these women who are in distress, and you give them a place to go. You give them resources. That's what is needed. That's what is needed.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, you really said something with this idea of being able to operate in silence and operate in darkness. I think often that silence becomes a cover, a protective barrier for an abuser to operate under. And unfortunately, a lot of them know that. They know that people aren't going to talk. They know that the woman or man, sometimes, men are abused too. The person who is abused is not going to be readily open with sharing what's going on. And so I believe that these conversations and talking to people and getting resources, one of our pillars of our program is that we have community outreach. So our counselor and our family assistance program manager, they put together resources to help you to have those conversations with people. And you have to really seek ways to start that conversation, to let people know that they're safe, to let people know that I'm not going to judge you. This is not your fault. You didn't do anything to bring this on. I think the other issue is that people feel like they did something to deserve this abuse, or they put themselves in a position to be abused. No one ever has a right to abuse anyone. And there's nothing that you can do that makes you deserve abuse. And so the more that we talk about it, and the more that we demystify talking about things, just like you said, that are uncomfortable, that aren't pleasant, I think the more that we open the door for people to get help when they need help. And so I think it's amazing that you are so open and vulnerable about what happened with your family, because we need those stories. Somebody that's watching right now, because domestic violence is so prevalent. 1 in 4 women, 1 in 7 men experiences domestic violence at some point in their lives, or intimate partner violence. So someone who's listening is either experiencing this themselves or they know someone. And we have to be aware of the signs. We have to be willing to talk about it. We have to shine the light on this thing, because I think that it's not an insurmountable goal to start to eliminate domestic violence. One of the things that we say here is we want to eliminate domestic violence one family at a time.
Right.
And if you focus on it that way, start in my family. Do I see signs and relationships that are going on in my family that I can talk about, that I can help people through? And then go to the next family. Look at your friend circle. Do you see unhealthy relationships happening in your friend circle? And we have to get out of this mindset of it's not my business. Because, as I talked to you about it yesterday, I never knew your niece, but we lost her. She's a part of our community. So we lost her too. We lost her gifts, her talents, her love, her ability to care for her kids. We lost that too. Not just your family. So we have to look more globally at this. And I think that we have to really start believing that we are a larger community, a larger family. And we have to start looking out for each other like that. So what you're doing is so important. And I hope you keep talking about it. I know this is your first time doing it on a public platform, but we broke the ice, so you can go ahead and keep talking about it and, helping people, because it really does. Your story touched me the very first time I met you, because I had experienced relationships that were unhealthy. And, you made me realize that, and we talked about this yesterday, that some people don't even realize they're in abusive situations. And it took me talking to people to realize that I had been in an abusive relationship. It wasn't physically violent, so you can very easily dismiss it as not being abusive because it's not physically violent. But looking for those signs of control, looking for those signs of domination, looking for those signs of demeaning, like you said, and putting people down. Those are signs of abuse that I think if we talk about it more, we become more aware of it. We can be more helpful to our friends and our brothers and sisters who might be going through this.
I mean, if it's summer, you and I talked about this because I think, and it's so interesting when you talk with people who've been in abusive relationships, and I think it starts with, I would have these conversations with my nieces are older now. If they listen, they probably won't kill me, but my great nieces, and I would talk to them at an early age, and one in particular was graduating. She came up here with me, and I had this really open, honest, raw conversation because I said to her, you need to understand how love looks and how it shouldn't look. And so I think it starts there, knowing that how love should look. Because sometimes I think at the core of all of us, we all just want to be loved. And we all just want to be accepted. And we all want to be wanted. And we all no one wants to be lonely. So I think oftentimes in that quest of just wanting to be loved, we think that I need to settle for this. Or sometimes how love should look. And I think we as men, and I know there's an abuse group, men and women, but we as men, we have a responsibility for our sons and our daughters to tell them and to show them, to tell them first, but to show them how love should look or how it shouldn't look. Because that is the first example a young lady gets is as far as what to look for in love and how she should be treated from her father. So it's important to get those lessons really, really early, because I think at the core of it, and I always wondered, and I probably will always wonder until I leave this earth, is that my niece, what was inside of her that, because I'm sure it wasn't the first time, that made her thought, that, oh man, I deserve this, or I should stay here. And if there's something that myself and my brothers could have done, should we have had different conversation? There are a million things that go through your head when you lose someone to domestic. And as a man, there's definitely a million and one thing that go through your head when you lose a female member of your family who's younger, who at a certain point you think that maybe I should have protected her. You wonder, what could I have done differently?
Yeah. And I think the beauty of it, if you can find beauty in it, is that you didn't just brush over it as it's just a tragic loss that people can go through in a family and that's it. The fact that there's this level of introspection, this level of deep thinking about, not necessarily guilt of, badgering yourself about things you didn't do, but like, what can I do from here forward that can prevent this in someone else's life? What signs in retrospect now did I miss, or did I see and maybe dismiss that I can change for the future, or that I can share with someone? And I think that's part of it too, that we always have to be thinking about how we can do better. How can we do better the next time? We can't change the past, but there are things that I think that we go through, even the challenging things, that we can take and that we can use for good, that we can turn into affecting change and advocating for other people. And I think sometimes God allows us to go through trials so that we can be advocates for other people, so that we can fight off some of this darkness and some of this, some of the bad things that go on in life. And I think that you really can't be an effective warrior until you've been through a battle.
Right.
And some of the battles are huge, but I think some of those huge battles make us greater warriors. And so I encourage anybody who's listening, if you've gone through something, don't let it take you out. You've gone through it. It's not wasted. I heard a preacher one time say that God never wastes a hurt.
That's right.
And I believe that. I believe that we go through things not so that they challenge us or take us out,
right,
but so that we can take them and use them to spread more good and to do better. And so I'm grateful to you that you are talking, and not just about domestic violence. I mean, everything that is in your wheelhouse, anything that you've experienced, you take and you become an advocate for it. And I admire that. I think more of us should be that way.
Yeah, which is what Frankie's Kitchen was a way. When I started Frankie's Kitchen, it was a way for me to, when I lost my mom, it was so unexpected, it was so traumatic to me. I had to find a place to put my grief, and I realized that I had gone through losing my sister, I had gone through my niece, so I realized that in order for me to effectively move forward, I need to find somewhere to put my grief. And for me, it was that, how can I keep my mother alive, her name, her memory alive? It is through recognizing and doing for others who were in her position. My mom was a single mother, and I always tell this story, and because I think when we're talking about, which ties into what you guys do, you all do at Bethany House, but I think when it comes to single mothers and kids, there's a stigma there also. We label them, something they've done wrong. Why are they single? They should stop having all these kids, and all the things, all the stereotypes we place on victims of domestic violence, we place them on single mothers. And so I always, a big part of me talking about Frankie's Kitchen and talking about my niece, because in my heart of heart, I feel that sometimes people just need to hear your story. People need to know that what I'm feeling, I'm not alone. It's what's wrong with me. I'm not this odd duck out here for feeling this way. Whether it's depression that you're going through about being a single mother, what I'm going through, you're not alone. And the importance of always telling your story is that it speaks to the person who's going through it, what is possible for them. And so that is why my passion is single mothers and helping single mothers, because I watched my mom. I watched my mom raise myself and my brothers. And I watched her do it with the grace. And I always tell people, my mom wasn't a perfect person. She made mistakes, but she never once allowed those mistakes to be an excuse for her to stop trying, for her to not, and for her not to hold us accountable. And so my job now is, until I leave this earth, is to also try to provide that support for other single mothers and kids from single parent household to do the same thing, to make sure that they know that there's just as much value in you and your story as it is for your counterpart who may be married with a wife or a husband or whoever on this side. There's just as much value in your life and what you do. So our mission is that we go out and we try to provide support to kids from single parent homes. So that includes the kid and the parent. And in most cases, it is a single mother raising kids. And it's a single mother, the part that always touched me. It's a single mother sometimes that's working 2 and 3 jobs, that's never asking for anything because of that shame that society has placed on them being a single mom. Because in the back of our heads, we already tell ourselves, we know this story. They getting all those kids, they shouldn't have. That's what we do to them. So there's some violence. So my job has been, and my mission is always is to support these families, to provide resources. In addition to that, to let them hear my story, my mom's story, and to say that regardless if you're going through this dark moment right now, there's a brighter day right around the corner. And what you point into your kids and how you move forward with your kids, that's going to determine how they move forward in the world. So thanks for allowing me the opportunity to talk about Frankie's Kitchen. We've done some great things in my hometown. Hopefully there's some great things that we're going to do this year. But always at the center of my mind is that because when I do that, every single parent that I see out there, I see my mom. I see Frankie. The organization is called Frankie's Kitchen. I see Frankie Irving in her. Every struggle they have, I see my mom's struggle. When I see the kids, I see myself and my brothers in the struggle. So my mission has been to, and I do think that one person can. A lot of people here may think I'm crazy. One person can change the world, one person at a time.
I agree.
One person can have an impact on that one other person that can touch millions of other people. So that's how I move forward. And whether it's my board or hopefully the volunteers, we get ready to bring the volunteers. We always have like mission. I always tell them we move forward with our mission at hand. Is the need.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love that you talked about, the stigmas there too. And I think that what I try to do, and I try to share this with other people, is really to lead with grace and mercy. I think if we start seeing people, number one, as people, number two, as our brothers and sisters, number three, as needing help and support, and stop focusing on the circumstances that got people to where they are. Just focus on the need in front of you and try to meet that need. I think that's how we do change the world. I think that's how we do, one person at a time, begin to change the world. And look at ourselves. Be empathetic. None of us have been perfect. None of us has done things the absolute right way. And, none of us has walked a straight path that ended up exactly as we planned it. And so it's really important for us to be compassionate and, to do the best that we can to help our brothers and sisters in need wherever we can meet the need. One of our promises that we made, I live as an extended family, so I live with my 102-year-old grandma and my parents, my husband and my son. And one thing that we've committed to is if we see a need in front of us and we can meet the need, we'll meet it. And we have been so blessed by that. Not only blessed by, good things coming back to us, good health and, love and all of this support that we get from people. But we get so blessed by seeing people's lives get changed for the better. And just like you said, how that continues a spiral effect and a snowball effect of other people being positive and going out there and helping. So I'm excited about Frankie's Kitchen. I think that single moms and their kids are an underserved, often overlooked group of people that don't a lot of times ask for help because of all the things you talked about, and they need help sometimes, just little things, here's a $25 gift card to get you some extra groceries, or let me take your kids off your hands for a couple hours so you can run some errands, or so you can get a spa day in, or whatever. These are little things that we can do to help our brothers and sisters, and especially our single moms, to thrive and to help their children to thrive. And, it does take a village. We're all connected to this thing. So that's really good. I think I lost your audio again.
Oh, did you?
Oh, no, there you go.
Okay,
I got it.
So I have a friend that's on here. I told her I was going to shout her story out. One of my board members who I think I have the best board members ever, diverse group of individuals. And it doesn't matter how we look. Doesn't matter. What matters is our purpose and our mission and our heart. And one of my board members spoke at the launch of Frankie's Kitchen, and she talked about being raised by a single parent, by her mom, and the extensions in the community, the coaches. Regina Wadsworth is her name. She's on here now. I'm sure she's still on here. But she talked about how the coaches helped her get equipment. All the people, and she described it as those were her Frankie's Kitchen. So I tell people out there, especially those of your listeners, everybody needs a Frankie's Kitchen. And I just call it Frankie's Kitchen because of my mom, but everybody needs a little helping hand. And we make it in this world. That single mother who's raising a child, her and her child's success is my success because it makes the world better. And that's what sometimes I think is lost, because we think if we can just push them aside and not bring them into our space, we'll be okay. We can live this nice life, but it doesn't work like that. The problem that we push aside will manifest themselves in your life tomorrow. The problem that we push aside today, they will manifest themselves in your life. It's kind of just like domestic what I was saying about domestic violence and domestic abuse. I'd seen this in my family before, not with my mom, but I'd seen it. But somewhere in your mind, you think if I just ignore it, I just don't talk, I don't deal with it because it's somebody else's problem. It won't impact me. But it does, and that's what I realized, and that's what I realized in working with Frankie's Kitchen. And as I say, I was saying about Regina's story, that's what I loved about her story. She was she was raised by a single mom. And all the, Tiffany, all the society says and points to, all the stereotypes says she should have been a failure. Regina ended up being one of our executives with the company. She ended up being very successful, raising 2 kids, having a great family, just an amazing person. So when I brought home my board, I always told her, your story is what women need to hear. Your story is the story that some mother who has nothing. I mean, when I say nothing, oftentimes we don't think about not having nothing. I'm talking about people who don't have food to put on their table. These are the type of people that Frankie's Kitchen have been of service to. I said, Regina, they need to hear this, to know that what you're going through is not who you are. What you're going through is not who you are. And if you can just hold on, you know, there's a brighter day. There's always a brighter day. And I think about before I created Frankie's Kitchen, that is how it was born, because I was in this dark space with my mom. And I had to just force myself to believe that there was going to be a brighter day right there. Maybe in a year from now, 6 months, 5 months, but there was a better day coming, and it did come. So that's the message to whether you're a victim of domestic violence or whether you're one of those mothers who just don't have, that we're trying to help. Just hold on, because better is coming. Better is coming.
That's good. That's good. I want to end it on that thought. Better is coming. And we all could use that sentiment. Everybody right now. Okay, so where should people follow you to find out more about Frankie's Kitchen and to stay connected to you?
Great. Follow me if you're on Instagram, please, and tell someone, follow me at Frankie's Kitchen 2019 on Instagram. If you have Facebook, follow me on Facebook at Frankie's Kitchen. That's FRANKIES Kitchen, KITCHEN. Follow me on Twitter at Frankie's Kitchen as well. We're more active on Instagram and Facebook, but we have some amazing projects coming on. We're always looking for people to volunteer. We're always looking for people to donate. But most of all, if you can't donate money, we're always looking for people to donate your time and your ideas, and tell us about people that you know in the community where there are single parents that we could get involved with. But Facebook and Instagram, follow us.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Craig. I led with saying we're going to need a part 2, because we always have really good conversations. But thank you so much. Thank you for your heart. Thank you for your service. Thank you for taking time to talk with me and all of our Bethany House friends. And definitely come back and talk to me again, another Talk Tuesday or Wisdom Wednesday. And we are having our gala in October, so I'm hoping to see the American Airlines crew come and support and bring their sunshine and their excitement. I see one of my cousins here, who's our mutual friend, Miss Pridgeon, Belinda. So we'll talk soon.
Great.
All this month we have been doing our Love Shouldn't Hurt campaign. We are our bold goal for Bethany House is to raise $10,000 by March 1st. We are making progress, but we need your help. So visit our website, bhnv.org. Find out about our organization, ways you can help. Donate if you can. Just like Craig said, you know, you can help in so many different ways. You'd be surprised at what you can do to help organizations like Bethany House and like Frankie's Kitchen. So just check it out. And definitely follow Frankie's Kitchen 2019 at Frankie's Kitchen 2019 on Instagram. Find them on Facebook. Follow us at Bethany House NV on all the platforms. And get involved. Help make this place that we live in here better, for sure. Thank you so much, Craig. I'll talk to you soon.
Great. Thanks for all you do, Tiffany. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you. Thank y'all for coming on and having this conversation with us. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.